The unexpected encounter, the asteroid field near Kepler 442, was quiet except for the steady hum of mining equipment. 3 human vessels worked methodically through the rock formations, their plasma cutters carving through mineral deposits with practiced efficiency. The ships looked worn but reliable, their hulls scarred from years of hard work in the void. Captain Sarah Chun sat in the command chair of the mining vessel Earthbreaker, reviewing the day's ore quotas while sipping coffee from a battered metal cup. At 35, she had spent more years in space than on any planet, and the rhythmic sounds of the mining operation were as familiar to her as a heartbeat. "Captain," called Communications Officer Elena Vasquez from her station, "I'm picking up some unusual readings on long-range sensors." Sarah looked up from her tablet, noticing the slight concern in Elena's voice. Elena was typically unflappable, having worked asteroid fields for over a decade. "What kind of unusual?" "Multiple contacts, very large signatures, approaching from the outer system." Elena's fingers danced across her console, fine-tuning the sensor array. "I count at least 30 vessels, maybe more. They're big, Captain. Much bigger than anything we've got out here." Chief Engineer Marcus Williams emerged from the maintenance shaft, wiping his hands on a grease-stained cloth. A bear of a man with graying hair and calloused hands, Marcus had kept mining ships running for longer than most people had been alive. "You talking about those energy signatures I've been tracking? My sensors have been going crazy for the past hour." Sarah stood and walked to the sensor station, studying the display. Dozens of red contacts were approaching their position, each one massive compared to their mining vessels. "Elena, get the Rockbreaker and Stardust on the comm. Tom and Maria need to know what's coming." The communication system crackled to life. "Sarah, this is Tom," came the voice of Captain Tom Rodriguez from the Rockbreaker. "We're seeing them too. What do you make of it?" "No idea," Sarah replied, "but we're about to find out." Captain Maria Santos joined the conversation from the Stardust. "Those ships are in formation, military formation. This doesn't look like a social visit." The unknown vessels continued their approach, and as they drew closer, the human sensors resolved more details. The ships were massive, sleek, and covered in what appeared to be heavy armor plating. Weapon emplacements bristled along their hulls. "Like thorns on a rose. Holy stars," Elena whispered. "The lead ship is 15 times our size." Marcus squinted at the display. "Those aren't exploration vessels. Those are warships." A new voice suddenly filled the bridge, transmitted on all frequencies. The voice was deep, resonant, and carried an unmistakable tone of authority and menace. "Primitive vessels of the human species, you have entered territory claimed by the Corvan Empire. I am Admiral Vexer, Supreme Commander of the 7th Conquest Fleet." Sarah exchanged glances with her crew. Elena raised an eyebrow. Marcus scratched his beard thoughtfully. Transmission continued. "Your pathetic civilization has attracted the attention of the Empire. We have monitored your feeble attempts at space colonization. Your resistance is futile. The Corvan Empire has conquered over 300 star systems. We have brought entire civilizations to their knees. Your species will surrender immediately or face complete annihilation." Sarah listened to the entire speech, noting the dramatic pauses and threatening tone. When it finished, she looked at her crew again. Elena was trying to suppress a smile. Marcus was shaking his head slowly. "Did he just call us primitive?" Elena asked. "That's what I heard," Sarah replied. "And he wants us to surrender?" Marcus added, apparently. Sarah thought about this for a moment. Then she started to chuckle. The chuckle became a laugh, and soon she was laughing so hard she had to sit down. "Captain?" Elena looked concerned. "Are you all right?" "This is perfect," Sarah said, wiping tears from her eyes. "This is the best thing that's happened all week." Marcus looked confused. They're threatening to destroy us. Don't you see? Sarah said. They think we're some kind of military force. They think 3 mining ships represent humanity's space presence. They have no idea what they're dealing with. Elena began to understand, and she started smiling too. They think we're helpless. Exactly, Sarah said. Elena, get Tom and Maria back on the comb. They need to hear this. The communication system activated. Sarah, did you hear that crazy transmission? Tom's voice came through clearly. These guys think they're hot stuff. I know, Sarah replied. Maria, you there? Right here, came Maria's voice from the stardust. That was the most ridiculous thing I've heard in years. Did they really say they conquered 300 star systems? They sure did, Sarah said. And they want us to surrender. Surrender what? Tom asked. We're hauling iron ore and rare earth minerals. I don't think they understand what we do out here. I don't think they know much about us at all, Maria said. Sarah keyed the communication system to respond to the alien fleet. Admiral Vexer, this is Captain Shun of the Earthbreaker. We received your message. We're just miners trying to do our job. We're not looking for trouble. There was a long pause. Then Admiral Vexer's voice returned, even more harsh than before. You dare mock the Empire? You think this is entertainment? I will demonstrate the true power of the Corvin fleet. Sarah looked at her crew. They were all smiling now. Even Marcus, who was usually serious about everything, was grinning. He thinks we're mocking him, Elena said. We kind of are, Sarah replied, but not on purpose. The alien ships began moving into an elaborate formation around the 3 human vessels. They arranged themselves in a perfect sphere, with weapons trained inward. It was clearly designed to be intimidating, and it was undeniably impressive. Wow, Sarah said, studying the tactical display. That's actually quite beautiful. Look at that coordination. Very precise, Elena agreed. They must have practiced that formation extensively. I wonder if they do air shows, Marcus added. That would be something to see. Sarah activated the communication system again. Admiral, that's a really impressive formation. Very professional. Do you guys perform at celebrations or something? The silence that followed was very long indeed. On the Corvin flagship Dominator, Admiral Vexer stood frozen on his command bridge. He was nearly 8 feet tall, with blue-gray skin and multiple sensory organs that enhanced his awareness. His species had ruled their sector of the galaxy for millennia, and no civilization had ever responded to their threats with such casual dismissal. Celebrations? He repeated to his officers. Did that human just ask if we perform at celebrations? His second in command, Commander Vextar, nodded grimly. Yes, Admiral. They appear to interpret our battle formation as entertainment. This is intolerable, Vexer growled. They mock our power. They laugh at our might. This cannot be allowed. What are your orders, Admiral? We will show them the price of defiance. Target the nearest asteroid. Full power demonstration. Back on the human mining ships, the crews were discussing the alien formation with professional interest. Sarah was explaining to her crew why the aliens might be upset. I think they're serious about this whole threatening thing, she said. They really believe they're intimidating. They're not wrong about the size difference, Elena replied. But big doesn't always mean better. Remember the Titan-class processors we saw at the Jupiter yards? Those things were massive. Yeah, but these guys have weapons, Marcus pointed out. So do we, Elena said. Every ship has defensive systems. That's true, Sarah nodded. But I don't think they want to fight. They want to scare us. Well, it's not working, Elena said with a grin. The communication system activated again. Admiral Vexer's voice filled the bridge. Human vessels, you have shown disrespect to the Empire. You will now witness the consequences of mockery. Observe. The largest alien ship turned toward a substantial asteroid, roughly the size of a small mountain. Energy began building along its hull, crackling. With barely contained power, the ship's main weapon charged up, creating an impressive light show. "Oh, they're going to shoot something," Sarah said. "Elena, make sure you're recording this. The mining guild might want to see their technology." The alien ship fired. A brilliant beam of purple energy lanced out and struck the asteroid. The rock exploded in a spectacular display of light and debris. When the flash faded, the asteroid was completely gone, reduced to drifting dust. "Nice," Sarah said appreciatively. "That's some serious firepower. Very clean," Elena added. "Impressive energy efficiency." Marcus whistled low. "That's professional grade. Equipment. Our mining crews would love to have that kind of precision." Sarah activated the communication system. "Admiral, that was excellent work. Really impressive demonstration. Is that standard mining equipment for your people?" On the Corvin flagship, Admiral Vexer felt his 4 hearts skip a beat. "Mining equipment?" he whispered. "Did they just call our most powerful weapon mining equipment?" "I believe so, Admiral," Commander Vextar replied quietly. "Perhaps they do not understand what they witnessed." "Then we will make them understand," Vexer said through gritted teeth. "Contact the other human vessels. I want to hear their reactions." The communication system connected to the other mining ships. Tom's voice came through clearly. "Hello there, Admiral. We saw your demonstration. Very impressive. Did you see what our processing crews did to that asteroid cluster last month?" "What?" Vexer was confused. "Hold on, I'll send you the footage," Tom said. A data transmission arrived at the Corvin ship. It showed human mining vessels working on a massive asteroid field. The ships were enormous, much larger than the current mining vessels. They were systematically dismantling asteroids with energy beams, plasma cutters, and gravity manipulators. "Watch this part," Tom's voice narrated. "See how they section that big asteroid? The one that's about 50 times bigger than the rock you just destroyed. They do that every day. Standard operations." The footage showed mining ships efficiently processing asteroids that dwarfed the one the Corvins had targeted. The human workers were chatting casually while they worked, treating the massive operation as routine. "The day shift and night shift compete to see who can process the most material," Tom continued. "Last month, the night crew processed an entire asteroid belt in 12 hours. They were showing off for their families who came to watch." Admiral Vexer stared at the footage. His most powerful weapon had destroyed 1 asteroid. These humans destroyed hundreds daily and treated it like a game. "This must be fabricated," he said to his officers. "No civilization could possess such capabilities." Maria's voice came over the communication system from the Stardust. "Admiral, those energy signatures from your weapon look familiar. Are you using plasma-based technology?" "Yes," Vexer replied automatically. "The most advanced plasma weaponry in the galaxy." "Huh," Maria said. "It looks similar to our industrial plasma torches. We use those for construction and large-scale excavation. Every mining ship carries several dozen of them." "Construction work?" Vexer's voice rose. "Yeah, for building orbital stations and surface installations. We use them to cut through bedrock and metal plating. Pretty standard equipment. Did you guys develop that technology recently?" "Recently?" Vexer was nearly shouting. "We perfected plasma weapons over 10,000 years ago." "Oh, cool," Maria replied cheerfully. "We just figured it out last year. Actually, my nephew developed our latest version for his engineering thesis. He's studying energy systems at the university." "Your nephew?" "Yeah, brilliant kid. He's only 22, but he has a real gift for power systems." He based his design on some old theoretical papers he found in the university library. "Admiral, Dexter sat down heavily in his command chair. A human college student had casually invented what had taken his civilization millennia to develop, and he had done it as a school project. "This is impossible," he whispered. "What's impossible?" Sarah's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral, you sound distressed. Are you feeling all right?" "I am not distressed," Dexter said firmly. "I am demonstrating the power of the Empire." "Okay," Sarah said patiently. "But we do have a schedule to maintain. We're supposed to deliver this ore to the Mars processing station by next week. Can we wrap this up? Wrap this up?" Dexter could not believe what he was hearing. "This is a military confrontation. You are surrounded by the Imperial fleet. You cannot simply leave." "Why not?" Sarah asked reasonably. "We haven't done anything wrong. We're just mining in a designated commercial zone. This is an open trade route." "Open trade route?" Dexter turned to his officers. "What is an open trade route?" Commander Vextar consulted the ship's database. "Admiral, it appears to be a space corridor where any vessel can travel freely without permission or tribute." "But this is Corvin space," Vextar protested. "All space belongs to the Empire." "I do not believe these humans recognize our claim," Vextar replied carefully. Sarah's voice came through the communication system again. "Admiral, we've got other ships scheduled to come through this area. There's a passenger transport due in about 2 hours, and a research expedition after that. You might want to move your ships out of the shipping lane." "Shipping lane?" Vextar repeated weakly. "Yeah, this is a busy route. About 80 ships per day. Mostly commercial traffic, but some passenger service and scientific vessels too." Admiral Vextar realized that what he had assumed was a military encounter was actually a traffic situation. The humans were not warriors or diplomats. They were workers, and he was blocking their route. The truth revealed Admiral Vextar was experiencing what his species called cognitive displacement, the disorienting sensation that occurred when reality failed to match expectations. In his 1,000 years of military service, he had never encountered a situation quite like this. "Signal the fleet," he ordered, his voice tight with frustration. "Formation Delta 7. Maximum intimidation protocol." "Yes, Admiral, Commander." Vextar replied. Formation Delta 7. The Corvin ships began their most elaborate and terrifying display. They formed a complex geometric pattern around the human vessels, with each ship positioned to create overlapping fields of fire. The formation was mathematically perfect and devastatingly beautiful. It was also the most threatening arrangement in the Corvin military doctrine. On the Earthbreaker, Sarah watched the alien ships move into their new positions. The precision was remarkable, like watching a deadly ballet performed in the void. "That's incredible," she said to her crew. "Look at the coordination. Every ship is in exactly the right position. The timing is perfect too," Elena added, still recording. "They must have trained for years to achieve that level of synchronization." Marcus finished his coffee and set down his cup. "It's like watching the Blue Angels, but with warships. Remember that air show we saw on Luna? This is even better," Sarah said. "Hey, Elena, make sure you're getting good footage of this." "Crystal clear," Elena replied. "My sister's kids are going to love this. They're studying space formations in school." Sarah activated the communication system. "Admiral, that formation is absolutely magnificent. The precision is outstanding. How long did it take your people to master that?" On the Corvin flagship, Admiral Vextar felt his sanity slipping away. They were treating Formation Delta 7 like a performance. His most terrifying tactical display was being compared to an air show. "They think it's entertainment," he said to his officers. "They think our ultimate battle formation is a circus act." "Perhaps we should explain the formation's true purpose," suggested Commander Vextar. "I have a better idea," Vextar replied grimly. All ships, prepare for demonstration firing. Target the empty space around the human vessels. Show them what 1,000 years of military perfection can accomplish. A Corvin fleet opened fire in perfect synchronization. Thousands of energy beams created a light show that could be seen from several star systems away. The display was meant to showcase the fleet's overwhelming firepower and leave no doubt about their destructive capabilities. "Oh, wow," Sarah said, watching the energy beams paint space in brilliant colors. "That's absolutely beautiful." "The colors are amazing," Elena added. "I've never seen energy patterns like that. It's like Aurora Borealis, but in space." "It's like the 4th of July," Marcus said, "but with alien technology." Tom's voice came over the communication system from the rockbreaker. "Sarah, are you seeing this? It's incredible." "I know," Sarah replied. "I wish my husband could see this. He's an artist, and he would love those color combinations." "Should we take pictures?" Maria asked from the stardust. "Already on it," Elena said. "I'm recording everything in high definition." "This is better than the opening ceremony at the Olympics," Tom said. "These aliens really know how to put on a show." "I'm wondering if they do this professionally," Sarah mused. "Like, do they travel around the galaxy doing exhibitions?" "They're certainly skilled enough," Maria replied. "The coordination is flawless, and the special effects are top-notch." Admiral Vexer listened to the human conversation with growing horror. His most devastating display of force was being compared to human entertainment. They thought his weapons were fireworks. "Admiral," Commander Vextar said quietly, "they appear to be enjoying the demonstration." "This is madness," Vexer replied. "No species has ever responded to our power with appreciation. Perhaps they do not understand that we are threatening them." "Then we will make our intentions unmistakably clear," Vexer said. "Target the nearest inhabited world. Prepare for planetary bombardment." The Corvin flagship turned toward the planet designated as New Ceres in human records. It was a terraformed world with a population of 5 million colonists. The ship's primary weapon began charging, energy building along its hull. "Captain," Elena said urgently, "they're targeting New Ceres." Sarah's demeanor changed instantly. The casual friendliness disappeared, replaced by sharp focus. "Are they serious?" "The energy buildup suggests they're preparing to fire," Marcus said, checking his instruments. "Well, that's not acceptable," Sarah said calmly. "Elena, send a priority message to New Ceres. Tell them to activate their planetary defense grid." "Already?" "Transmitting," Elena replied. "Defense grid is coming online." On New Ceres, the colonists had been watching the light show in space with interest. The emergency notification changed their perspective immediately. The planet's automated defense systems activated, and hundreds of defensive platforms powered up across the surface and in orbital positions. Tom's voice came over the communication system, no longer cheerful. "Admiral, I don't think you want to attack that planet." "And why not?" Vexer demanded. "Will you stop me?" "No," Tom replied, "but the defense grid will. Those colonists have families down there. They take security very seriously." "What defense grid?" Vexer asked. "They are primitive colonists." "Well," Sarah said, "remember that asteroid you destroyed earlier? The one about the size of a small mountain?" "Yes. The planetary defense grid could vaporize about 100 of those every second for several hours straight." "That's impossible," Vexer said. "Want to test it?" Maria asked. "I wouldn't recommend it, but you're welcome to try." Admiral Vexer looked at his sensor readings. The planet below was powering up defensive systems that defied comprehension. The energy signatures were staggering. Each defensive platform had more firepower than his flagship. "How many platforms are there?" he asked his sensor officer. 437, Admiral. All of them are now active and targeting our fleet. Each one is significantly more powerful than our primary weapon, the officer added quietly. Vexer stared at the readings. A simple farming colony had enough firepower to destroy his entire fleet multiple times over. This is just a colony world? He asked. Oh yeah, Sarah replied. Just a medium-sized one. About 5 million people. They mostly grow food and manufacture. Consumer goods. Nice folks. And they all have defense systems like this? Of course, Maria said. You never know what kind of dangers you might encounter in space. Asteroids, solar flares, pirates, hostile aliens. The defense grid protects against all of that. Pirates? Dexter asked faintly. Yeah, we have problems with raiders sometimes. Tom explained. Nothing serious, but the colonists prefer to be prepared. Can't blame them. What happened to the pirates? Oh, they don't bother us anymore, Sarah said. The defense grids are pretty effective deterrents. Most pirates found honest work after a few encounters. Admiral Vexer was beginning to understand the true scope of his mistake. These humans were not primitives struggling with basic space travel. They were a civilization that considered planet killing. Weapons to be standard safety equipment. Suddenly, new contacts appeared on the Corvin sensors. 3 ships approaching from the outer system, larger than the mining vessels, but smaller than the Corvin warships. Admiral, Sarah said, looks like you're about to meet some more of our people. A new voice came over the communication system, crisp and professional. This is Captain David Park of the Colonial Defense Ship Guardian. We received reports of unusual activity in this sector. Is everything all right out here? Hi, David, Sarah said cheerfully. We're fine. Just had a visit from some folks calling themselves the Corvin Empire. They wanted to chat. The Corvin Empire? Captain Park's voice carried a note of curiosity. I'm not familiar with that name. Are they new to this sector? Evidently they've been around for a while, Sarah replied. They say they've conquered 300 star systems. Interesting. Admiral, I'm Captain Park of the Colonial Defense Force. I'd like to extend an official greeting from the Human Colonial Authority. Vexer found his voice. You are military? Yes, sir. I'm on routine patrol duty. We try to keep the shipping lanes safe for commercial traffic. How many ships are in your patrol? Just 3 today. Light patrol for a quiet sector. We've got the Guardian, the Protector, and the Sentinel. Asterisk. And how many ships does your Colonial Defense Force possess? There was a pause. Admiral, that's classified information. But I can tell you that we maintain adequate forces to protect our territories and trade routes. Elena was monitoring communications across multiple frequencies. Captain, she said quietly, I'm picking up fleet coordination chatter. Sounds like there are a lot more ships out there. Sarah nodded. Admiral, you might want to reconsider your position. Our people take threats to civilian ships very seriously. What do you mean? Vexer asked. A new voice joined the conversation. This is Dr. Rebecca Stone of the research vessel Discovery. We detected unusual energy signatures and came to investigate. Captain Park, do you need assistance? We're fine, Dr. Stone, Captain Park replied. Just a diplomatic situation. Actually, Dr. Stone said, this is fascinating. I'm reading technology signatures I've never seen before. Admiral, would you be willing to share some technical data? We're always interested in new propulsion and energy systems. You want to study our technology? Vexer was bewildered. If you're willing to share, yes. We have several exchange programs with other species. Scientific cooperation benefits everyone. Other species? Vexer asked. Oh, yes, Dr. Stone replied. We work with the Altarian Federation, the Vegan Collective, the Suntory Republic, and about 30 other civilizations. Peaceful cooperation is much more productive than conflict. Admiral Vexer's worldview was crumbling. These humans were not isolated primitives. They were part of a vast network of civilizations, and they seemed to be on friendly terms with dozens of other species. "How many species are in your alliance?" he asked. "It's not really an alliance," Captain Park explained. "More like a loose confederation of independent civilizations that trade and cooperate. We don't keep an exact count, but there are probably 100 or so active members. And they all have military forces? Most do. But we primarily focus on exploration, trade, and mutual defense. Nobody's interested in conquest. Conquest is inefficient," Dr. Stone added. "Why fight over resources when you can trade for them? Why destroy civilizations when you can learn from them?" Commander Vextar leaned close to Admiral Vexer. "Admiral, our intelligence division has been reviewing the situation. It appears we have made a significant error in our assessment of human capabilities." "What kind of error?" Vexer asked quietly. "According to our data, the humans have been in contact with over 200 different species. They have established peaceful relations with most of them. Their military forces are extensive." "How extensive?" "Conservative estimates suggest they have over 50,000 active military vessels, not counting civilian ships or defensive platforms." Admiral Vexer felt the last of his confidence evaporate. His fleet of 30 ships was facing a civilization with 50,000 military vessels and peaceful relationships with hundreds of other species. "Admiral," Sarah's voice came through the communication system, "we need to get back to work. Our schedule is pretty tight, and we've got quotas to meet. Was there anything else you needed?" Vexer looked around his bridge at his officers. They were all staring at him, waiting for orders. The situation had gone from a simple intimidation of primitives to a potential diplomatic disaster. "No," he said finally. "No, there is nothing else. We ... We appear to have made an error. We will be leaving now." "Okay," Sarah said. "Safe travels, Admiral. If you're ever in the neighborhood again, feel free to stop by. We're usually working this sector." The Corvin fleet began to withdraw, moving away from the human ships with considerably less swagger than they had arrived with. As they departed, the human vessels returned to their mining operations as if nothing unusual had happened. "Well," Sarah said to her crew, "that was interesting." "Elena, did you get all that recorded?" "Every second of it," Elena replied. "This is going to make a great report." "Back to work then," Sarah said. "We've got ore to mine and quotas to meet." And in the asteroid field near Kepler 442, the steady hum of mining equipment resumed, while somewhere in the distance, the Corvin Empire reconsidered their expansion plans. Asterisk.